Our next story is from Iran, where the internet is both a lifeline and a battleground. It's quite an interesting story, and it has just seen a new twist. Iran is loosening its grip on the internet. It has lifted its ban on two platforms, WhatsApp and Google Play. Until now, they were both banned in Iran, WhatsApp and Google Play, but now Tehran is bringing them back. The authorities have voted on this move. They say this is the first step, the first at easing internet restrictions. It is not clear when it will take effect, but the message is hard to miss, especially for a country like Iran. It's a major concession to their people. You may ask, why now? Why is Iran suddenly making the internet accessible, and could this move backfire? To understand this, we need to look back. For years, Iran has kept tight controls, the world's strictest internet restrictions, and rampant censorship. Access to 70% of the internet is blocked in this country. This includes platforms like YouTube, X, Instagram, Telegram. You cannot access them in Iran. And this tightening of control began in 2005. That's when Iran set up the NIN, the National Information Network. It's like China's Great Firewall. It helped Iran monitor what was going on the internet and who was accessing it. The government could see all of it. In 2010, Tehran even got a new nickname, the enemy of the internet. That's what they were called. And this continued for years. Then in 2019, a massive protest broke out in Iran. It was a protest over fuel. So Tehran shut down the internet. There was a complete blackout. In 2022, this happened again. Iran's morality police killed a 22-year-old woman called Masha Amini. Her crime? Not wearing her hijab properly. This triggered protests across the nation, and Tehran retaliated with a crackdown and another internet blackout. Which brings us to 2024. Iran has elected a new president, Masoud Pezeshkian. He is a moderate. One of his big promises was easing internet restrictions. And now he seems to be walking the talk. But that's only half the story. There's a lot more at play here. Iran's economy is in a shambles. People are struggling to make ends meet. There are crippling power cuts. There's fuel shortage. The currency rial has crashed. And all of this affects public sentiment. It puts pressure on the regime. They're on the edge. Public discontent built over a period of time is the most dangerous thing for any regime. Add to that their international troubles. Iran's allies have been toppled, Iran's proxies have been weakened, and an old foe called Donald Trump is returning to power. The last thing they can afford is another protest at home. Hence the concession. The easing of internet restrictions. It's like a peace offering to the public. It could serve two purposes. First, stimulate the economy. Businesses relying on these platforms can resume operations. It could open new doors to new opportunities. And the second, it may calm public frustration by providing greater digital access. Tehran is basically hoping to appease its citizens. But there's a catch and some lessons from history. When a regime opens the door to freedoms, it is not easy to shut it back. Take the Soviet Union, for example. In the 1980s, Gorbachev opened the economy. He gave freedom of speech and greater access to information. The idea was to make the political system more transparent. But it only fueled public frustration. There were uprisings, independence movements, and finally, the Soviet Union collapsed. Same for Arab Spring nations. Regimes that faced backlash offered limited reforms, at least some of them did. They wanted to appease the public while still controlling the country. It did not work though. The regimes were toppled one after the other. So countries like Iran may think that concessions will help, but they also give people a taste of freedom. It's like blood in the water. Once the public gets some, they want more. Could Iran be heading down the same path? Honestly, it's too soon to say. What we do know is that internet access empowers people, and for a country like Iran, this could mark the beginning of something much bigger. Whether it's change for the better or a crisis for the regime, only time will tell.